You have to admire the build quality. Mind you, servicing probably costs a few bob. Right, I'll have this open in a jiffy. Manufactured by decent, honest, working-class Brits in 1974. I think it would be best if I did something else with this. I'll just get piping hot tea all over my hair. It's not the worst idea I've ever heard. I remember when they talked about keeping BBC Three. I've never been down with the whole zero grav thing.
Aren't you supposed to be downstairs turning the power off and on?
Sub-Lieutenant Jones!
Aye, boyo?
For the most part, I think things have been going quite well so far, don't you?
I guess our ship hasn't been ripped apart by a cloud of space debris travelling at an unavoidable velocity, catapulting us into the abyss of space, causing us to float aimlessly until our inevitable oxygen-starved deaths.
That's the spirit. I'm just going outside, and maybe sometime. Any parting thoughts?
You couldn't hurry it up a bit, boyo? I'm getting bored looking at the same old view.
Bored? Looking at the infinite majesty and wonder of the stars.
I meant looking at you.
Are you sure there's nothing else we can do in here to get things moving?
Continually talking to me is certainly keeping you from moving.
I do enjoy our little chats. I go, look how I go, faster than an arrow from Cupid's bow.
I doubt continually quoting Shakespeare verbatim will improve things enough to get us that Writers' Guild nomination.
There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
All that glisters isn't gold, boyo.
I don't think they'd get along. Once more onto the breach we go. I fear we may need to curtail this imaginative thinking. I'm sure there's another more rational use for this. I'm sure this'll come in. Wait for it. MJ borrowed the pair to clean some blood on the dance floor. Only returned the one. He always was bad like that. I'm sure this'll come in. Wait for it. Handy, eh? Yes. Voila! That should significantly reduce the risk of death by electrocution. Always a comforting reassurance. That looks like the emergency stop switch. This should do the trick. No, that's, yes, right. Oops, gosh, I can be ever so clumsy. Ah well, no harm done. Let's check back with Allard and see if that's sorted everything. Down here is starting to give me the creeps. I see Allard's activated the autopilot and skived off. Surely, the writers could try and plagiarize a wider variety of sources. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've met. I'm Frank, but please, call me Captain English.
Welcome.
Captain English.
How may I be of assistance?
I don't suppose there's a Mr. Autopilot, perchance?
Compiler error. Incompatible types. Access denied.
So, how long have you been an autopilot?
Calculating. Calculating. Error. You do not have permission to access this data.
So, how's everything going? Are we on track to be finished by tea?
ETA to waypoint. Tango Echo Alpha. Calculating. Calculating. Cannot define. Please refer to string length idiom for more details.
I think I'll log off.
It is now safe to be removed.
I can't use these two together. I doubt combining these two will prove to be particularly useful. I'm sure there's a more practical use for this. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer the more natural look. I see the autopilot's working, unlike Sub-Lieutenant Jones. It's Alad, the Lewis to my Morse. Unfortunately, dairy is one of 3 things Sub-Lieutenant Jones is allergic to. I like the chap, but not in that way. Sub-Lieutenant Jones!
Aye, boyo?
I don't suppose you noticed anything out of the ordinary earlier when I was performing that emergency systems reset procedure. Specifically immediately once the power came back on.
No. Why, should I have?
Well, I don't know. Probably not. Forget I mentioned it. What is it you're tinkering with there, Jones? That isn't our reconnaissance rover you're disassembling, is it?
Well, but, funny story. While you were downstairs attending to that very complicated, laborious task, flicking that switch on and off, I've been running a variety of pre-mission calibration tests on the Beagle 2-2.
I presume that's why the floor's covered with bits of toy Hot Wheels track.
Firstly, the fact that this modular vehicular pathway simulation system happens to be mass-produced and branded as a children's toy is irrelevant. And secondly, yes.
That's all well and good, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. However, if I recall correctly, we were specifically advised that the Beagle 2-2 tended to function significantly better when its complicated array of electronics and mechanical components were positioned inside its aluminium housing.
Look, I just have to make a few minor repairs. During a centrifugal force resistance simulation, the rover proved exceedingly resistant.
So it flew off the loop bit.
That would be a valid interpretation of events, yes.
Sounds like I'm going to be required to go on some kind of scavenger hunt. What do you need?
To get the rover going again?
For the time being, that's all I feel I'm obligated to offer, yes.
I think the rigorous nature of the, test may have burned out the main motor.
I see. So, I'll have to find something to create some sort of electromagnet that'll revolve when a current is passed through it. I'll have to fashion a pulley system of sorts to drive power to the wheels. Something with a taut elastic band should do the trick, like an alluring undergarment. Now, if I was to remove the elastic...
Alternatively, but you could just always grab me a spare. We've got a cupboard full of them.
Who's driving the boat?
Nobody. We're tied. I turned the autopilot on.
She was only installed a week ago and already her standards are slipping. Be sure to put your toys away when you're done. Let it not be said I don't give you anything, Sub-Lieutenant Jones.
An unhealthy reliance on migraine medication already proves that, but...
Now get this mess cleared up and put the Beagle 2-2 back together.